What is up, Pokemon trainers? My name is Blaze, and welcome to the third installment of my series called Blaze Babbles, where I talk about a certain subject going on in the gaming world, mostly with Nintendo, or actually mostly centered around Pokemon. Sometimes Nintendo and other subjects come up as well. Today, as you can see on your screen, it is about Pokemon Stars, and the big question is whether or not it's real. Now, let's talk about what we know. We know that Pokemon Sun and Moon came out in, I think it was November last year in 2016. And data miners have found a lot of information in the game as far as Pokemon being able to follow you around and some other things that were kind of left out. If I had to tell you anything about Pokemon Sun and Moon, I would tell you that I don't feel like the game is finished. I don't feel like it's a complete game. I feel like after you finish the game in the story mode or whatever you have to do in the final part of the game, I won't spoil it, but after you do that thing, whatever it is, there's not really much to do, and I feel like there's a lot more that should be coming out in Pokemon, whether it's through a patch, through Sun and Moon, or if they release a whole new version, kind of like Platinum was, or kind of like the way that Emerald was. Or Crystal for the Gold and Silver version. I know that there's a lot of demand in that regard, and there's a lot of rumors and everything going around about Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. If you play Pokemon Sun and Moon, you'll know that there's a ton of references in Pokemon Sun and Moon to a Diamond and Pearl remake. So that is very likely that possibly later this year or next year that there will be a Diamond and Pearl remake. I won't go into the specifics of that right now. There's all kinds of references to Diamond and Pearl and that region in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So check out your game. I think in the Ether Foundation, there's a couple of books there that talk about Giratina, and there's also a bunch of people that talk about that region. The name slips my mind for the time being, but there is a lot of speculation that will be the next game that comes out. But there are two things that Nintendo talked about. Well, not necessarily Nintendo, but there are two things that came out that have led a lot of people to believe that there will be another Pokemon game coming out for the Nintendo Switch. The first one being that GameStop did accidentally release some information about Pokemon Stars. They put on their Twitter that Pokemon Stars would be out on the Nintendo Switch. I believe they even specified as a launch title, but I would think that if that was the case, Nintendo would definitely have announced it on January 12th. Nintendo has not said anything about another Pokemon game coming out to the Nintendo Switch, except for, well, that's not true, actually. Let me backtrack a little bit. Nintendo has specifically stated that there will be a Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. They just haven't said what it's going to be. So couple that with the fact that GameStop did leak some information, and you've got a recipe for speculation, basically. As of right now, Nintendo has not said what that Pokemon game is going to be. It could very well be a remake of Diamond and Pearl. It could be a Pokemon Stadium game, a Pokemon Coliseum game. It could be the options there are limitless. There could be anything that Nintendo could do with a Pokemon franchise on the Nintendo Switch. It could just be a Pokemon Shuffle game. We don't know. Nintendo has said specifically that there will be a Pokemon game, but they have not specified what game that's going to be. The only thing that we're going off of is this leaked information that GameStop put out there talking about that game as being Pokemon Stars. I'm not too thrilled about the name Pokemon Stars. I think that the sun is a star, so I don't know why you'd call it Pokemon Multiple Suns, but hey, I don't work for the marketing department. It's someone else's job to decide the name of these things. But I do believe that whatever game we get, I don't think it's going to be a shallow Mystery Dungeon or Ranger game. I think it's actually going to be a Pokemon game. And I've even speculated in the past that it's going to be a 7th generation expanded game to Pokemon Sun and Moon. So possibly a game called Stars or maybe Eclipse or something along those lines. So that's my speculation. I actually I do have two predictions for that game. I believe that your Pokemon are going to be able to follow you around. I think that data miners have found that in Pokemon Sun and Moon, there are sprites for every Pokemon in the game, and those sprites have walking animations. Not so much sprites, but 3D models, like super deformed 3D models that would actually indicate that there is going to be something following you around at some point. So that's my prediction, is that in Pokemon Stars, or whatever it's called, they will have Pokemon follow you around. And I also believe that you're going to be able to follow, well, not follow, but you're going to be able to go to Kanto. Every single character in the game talks about Kanto. At some point Kanto comes up. Your character is from Kanto. So there's a very strong likelihood that you'll be going to Kanto at the end of the game. One other thing that they talked about was that the Pokemon, it was going to be kind of a sequel. Whatever this game was going to be kind of a sequel to Pokemon Sun and Moon, in that you actually play this game a year later than the original games. So whether you're going to have a different character altogether, I know that the character models for Black and White and Black 2 and White 2 were changed up. So that could be a very lucrative decision to have a different character altogether, a male and a female. So it's that's a very strong possibility it'll be a different character. And then I think that I think that the storyline there's going to be some spoilers coming up in the last part of this video. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, you can shut it down right now, and you won't have to deal with that. So I'll give you about 5 seconds to shut down the video if you want to. But just keep in mind that I am going to talk about in the last part of this video some major spoilers for the game. If you haven't beaten it, come back another time and finish off this video, and we'll talk more about Pokemon Sun, Moon, and possibly Stars. So I've given you enough time. So here's what I think. I think that at the end of the game, you're going to follow Lily to Kanto. I almost said that earlier without giving a spoiler disclaimer. But I think that Lily talks about going to Kanto and starting her Pokemon journey, and I think that you're going to be able to follow her to Kanto if the storyline stays the same. Or possibly you would actually take your save file from the Pokemon game that you have and transport it into Pokemon Stars and pick up where you left off and actually go to Kanto. If in fact it is a year later, that the storyline does take place a year later, I believe that that's enough time for this region to actually have a more standardized Pokemon League. While the trials are fun, I miss gym battles. I miss going through the gyms and doing the gyms. I miss fighting a gym leader. I really didn't care too much to do the trials, and they were fun, but they were just different, and I didn't really like them all that much. After cooking with Olivia, it was like, okay, well, I don't feel like I really accomplished anything. I just cooked with you, and that was it. You told me what to do, and I did it. So while the trials they have those puzzle elements like the gyms had in the past, they don't really provide any sense of accomplishment when you actually do it. I think something else missing from those games is that a difficulty level of the gym leader battles or just battles in general is not so much present. I went through the entire game without using a single Z move, Mega Evolution wasn't available, but I went through Ruby and Sapphire and X and Y without using a single Mega Evolution. So, while I don't want to spend a lot of time watching those animations, I want to feel like at some point in the game, if I don't use this Mega Evolution or this Z move, I'm probably going to lose. So I need to start using those. And you may not feel the same way. Maybe the game was challenging enough that you actually had to use them, and that's fine. I just didn't find it as challenging as I thought it should be. And I want to feel like the option is there, like that the difficulty level should be a little bit more challenging should the player want it to be challenging. And the gym leaders are a great way to do that. The gym leaders typically don't have 6 Pokemon. They only have about 4, maybe 5 at the most. But they could have 6, and they could be they could be at a level, at a range of levels that just make it super challenging. To a point where they have some of the strongest attacks in the game up until that point, and they can one-hit KO any of your Pokemon if they're super effective. But anyway, so I guess the question being, is Pokemon Stars real? Well, the answer is we don't know. Nintendo has not said anything official about a new Pokemon game coming out. There's a lot of speculation going around that Pokemon Stars will be the new game. There's also speculation that Pokemon Diamond and Pearl will be out this year, but we don't know. And according to Pokemon X and Y, where they talked a lot about the region in Ruby and Sapphire, the Hoenn region, we don't know that they're going to release Diamond and Pearl. However, Pokemon Sun and Moon do talk very much about that region, about the Diamond and Pearl region. And it still escapes me right now. I'm still having trouble remembering what that region is. Don't yell at me too much. I don't know what's going on with my brain today, but I can't remember what region that is. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring up this information and talk a little bit about Pokemon Stars and how that's going to fit into Pokemon Sun and Moon. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, put them in the comments below. I would very much love to hear what you have to say. And of course, if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I do videos every Monday through Friday on the Pokemon trading card game online. And I also do videos periodically about different topics about about the world of Nintendo and video games and things like that. So at some point, I'll talk about some other experiences that I've had, just growing up and everything like that, and jobs I've had. But until then, guys, I really do appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the flippity flop.